Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Koala and I am a shamanic practitioner mainly within the Nordic tradition, but I'm also initiated into the Nustakarpa and the Munaiki rites within Kiro medicine. And we are here now to continue our journey through the 9 worlds or the 9 realms of the Nordic shamanism. So this is my map. If you've seen my other videos on this topic, you know that this is my map. And this can look a bit different for each practitioner. Mine is as simple as it gets, okay? I simply have runes to symbolize all of the 9 worlds, because that's kinda the only thing I need. And then of course there are people that make their maps very elaborate and they have a tree of life in the middle. So if I were to have a tree of life in the middle, you see the middle rune here would be around the trunk, and then the 2 runes at the ends would be between heaven and earth, and then these would be around with the crown of the tree, and the bottom 3 would be around the roots of the tree. So this I have this simple because 1, it's all I need, and 2, I also use this as a spread. So I put my cloth on a table or on a surface, and then I throw the runes on this. So this is also used for a throwing spread that is called the 9 worlds spread. So today we are going to talk about something that in Swedish is called Svartalvheim or Black Elf Home. As I said last time, Heim, or I think Heimur, is how you do it in English, like just put an R at the end. I think it's supposed to be from the Icelandic way of spelling it. Maybe. So that means home, or homestead, or farm, or something like that. So it's the home of the Black Elves, and that is, let's see if I can do this. That's this rune right here, and it's Bjarke or Berkana. So that one right there. And so it's one of the middle worlds. So we have now shifted from the upper worlds, where the last one we talked about was Muspelheim. And now we are shifting to the lower worlds. So I've done the upper worlds, we're gonna do the middle worlds, the middle world, and then the lower worlds. Okay, so in Svartalvheim or Black Elf Home, that's the home of the Black Elves, okay, or Svartalver. I feel more comfortable saying it in Swedish, but I'm gonna try and talk about it in English. So the Black Elves are our shadow selves, we can say. So we need to remember that everything in the middle world, as a map of the inside, is things that we are aware of. So we are aware of it, but we might try to hide it from ourselves. So that's kind of the idea of Black Elfheim. So the Black Elves are our shadow selves, that we think that we hide from other people, that we think we hide from ourselves, but we most often don't. And we work with this aspect of ourselves by bringing these aspects of ourselves into the light, into the Ljusalvheim, which is the other end of the middle worlds. So this rune right here, which is the sun rune. So these aspects of ourselves, it's not our darkest, deepest secrets. It can hold our secrets. Like for me personally, my transness was a part of that world. It was something that I was vaguely aware of for a long time, but I didn't have language to put it on, and it was pushed down and pushed down and pushed down for such a long time. But it was there, and it wasn't in my lower worlds. It wasn't. It was in my shadow, a part of my shadow self. It was a part of myself that I did, that thought that I hid from other people, that I didn't really want to acknowledge because of outer pressure and outer circumstances that became my inner circumstances. So Svartalvheim can be a home to all of these different aspects. It can be it's the home of our deepest secrets. It doesn't have to be our darkest secrets. We don't have to have like dark. It's not a place of dark magic or our evil, our deepest, darkest evil area. It can be depending on the person, but mostly it's a place of just the parts of ourselves that we have a hard time dealing with, our secrets from maybe childhood, and things that we don't want to deal with, things that makes us clam up, and things that makes us just not want to deal with the world, and makes us put our walls up and isolate ourselves and that sort of thing. And as I said, the way to work with this is mainly on a conscious level. So to go into the not the subconscious, but to, in meditative state or in healing, go to this part of ourselves and bring into the light what we are ready to deal with. So any shamanic practitioner that I think this is kind of what happens a lot of the times when people meet with shamanic practitioner or people that call themselves shamans but doesn't really have any clue what they're doing, but they use like herbal medicines, but they are not qualified to do it, and they put people in danger by aiding this journey into themselves that they really can't deal with, and they open up gates from all of these non-worlds, and it just floods into the light, and people are not ready to deal with that, and it doesn't happen bit by bit. So the danger of exploring this world has nothing to do with the world itself. It has to do with how you do it. So you need to do it piece by piece. You need to let yourself heal bit by bit, and you need to just bring out whatever into the light that you're willing to deal with. You can of course bring stuff into the light from this world that you are afraid of facing, and it may have like connections into the lower worlds and that sort of thing. So it's really something that you can do on your own. It's called shadow work. So a lot of our shadow work that we talk about in different traditions and different spiritual traditions, we talk about shadow work. And shadow work in the Nordic has a lot to do with whatever is hiding, or whatever we are hiding in this realm. So the black elves are our shadows, you can say, in the outer cosmos. So it's a map of our inner cosmos and our outer cosmos, and in our outer cosmos the black elves are it can be projections, it can be those side of ourselves that we don't want to see, that we project onto other people. So like when we fear other people, when people are homophobic, transphobic, anti-Semitic, and when they have fears around people being different, even whether they acknowledge that they do or don't, that's often, not always, but often projections of our inner turmoil and our inner thoughts. And it can be things that we are brought up with, it can be things, so it can be as simple as we have been taught to fear, and that fear is projected onto other people and create shadows in the world. So there are different words for this in different traditions, and in some traditions you would call it dealing with your inner demons, when you face your black elves. So in our outside world, when we meet these black elves, there are two sides to this, because or more, but so one side is it's our own projections onto other people. It can also actually be other people's deepest, darkest views, or like not views but selves. So we can actually, it might be that we are seeing their darkest self, most often because we have maybe faced it before and we recognize it. Maybe we have a history with psychopaths and that's why we can see them. So you can call them the black elves of the outer cosmos. And then there's also the aspect of nature. So this part of the world, of the realms, so this realm is, the rune of this realm is Bjarka or Berkana, and that is the rune of the Earth Mother, and it's the rune for everything that lives slightly beneath the earth, so between heaven and earth in the shadows, but also slightly beneath the earth, like in the earth. So one of the most prominent Nordic shamans, called Norrhaman, that's kind of his title. His name is Jörgen E. Eriksson. He calls these entities that we meet in nature, that are like the darker side of nature. It's not really dark as in evil, it's just dark as in hidden. He calls these, let me see if I can find the right word in English. Okay, so I would call them like entities of fertility, or beings of fertility. So there's a lot of life-giving nutrients and that sort of thing in this deep dark soil that is a part of this world. So it's kind of like we have the light and we have the sun in the other end of the middle world. And when we bring all of these darker entities of fertility and darker sides of ourselves into the light, we also bring whatever we need to gain more life force. So it aids us, it helps us to become whole, because the rune that is in the middle world, so this rune right here that I'm pointing a few fingers at, the rune in the middle of the map, that is the rune of the whole being, the whole human being. So when we see all when we see and accept and love all of ourselves, the dark, the light, the deep, the high, everything, we are a whole being, and the pursuit of being whole is what we should aim for, the balance between everything. So there are things in Svartalvheim, or the home of the Black Elves, that we should not fear. We should not fear any of it, but there are things that we actually need, and we need to see that we need it, because every projection that we make, that we realize is a projection of ourselves onto the outer world. Every aspect of other people that we recognize as a part of us, or as a part of our upbringing, every prejudice, everything helps us become whole and helps us to heal ourselves. So when we work in the middle world, there's so many things I could talk about with the middle world, but I'm gonna go deeper into it when I actually am in the next video, where we talk about the middle world's rune, the middle world. So on Mannheim. So we're gonna go a little bit deeper into the whole concept of the middle worlds in the next video. But just know that everything that we have in Svartalvheim is good for us. We need to bring it into the light. We need to work with it. We need it to be whole. And even if we never work with these aspects of ourselves, they are a part of us and our whole self. And of course the best thing we can do is to work with it and bring forth all of these nutrients and work with our inner entities of fertility. But we can also let them rest, of course. That's our privilege, our choice as human beings, or as cosmic beings experiencing the human experience. It's our privilege and our choice to work with it or not. So the element of this world is the Earth Mother and the deep dark soil that contains all of her nutrients. And when I look at this, if I were to draw a really beautiful map with a tree of life in the middle, I would have the middle rune of Mother, and you really need to learn how to put like this up, like here or something on the screen. But yeah, if I were to put this in the middle, I would put this in the trunk if I were to draw it, and then I would have like the sun shining from the side of Svartalvheim, Lightalvheim with the sun rune. I would have the sun shining from this end of the map, and then I would have, so that the tree would have a deep dark shadow into Svartalvheim. That's kind of how I would draw it, to really emphasize the meaning of this world. So I have already talked about the benefits of traveling to this world and to work with this world. And I would say that the safest way to do it is to simply do it in meditation. If you want to go deeper into it and really meet your shadow self, you probably need to do it with someone who knows what they're doing. And please, please, please don't use any herbal medicines that you have never tried before on your own or with a person that you don't trust. So you don't really, to work with your shadow self, you don't need to go deep, because it's all in your conscious mind. You're just hiding it from yourself. So remember that, and do what's best for you at all times. And what's the last thing I want to say before ending this video? It's a wonderful thing to do, to journey to this world. And when I guide people in shamanic journey into this world, I do it through a landscape of symbolism at first, or symbols. Like we enter the middle world and we go into the dark side of the middle world, and we meet different trolls or different entities that is a part of this shadow world. And so we have quite a mental distance to them when we first meet them, and we can meet them as they are and what they stand for, and then integrate it into ourselves by bringing it into the light and bringing them with us into this reality when we wake up from the meditation. It's almost a hypnotic session. I am not a hypnotherapist, but a lot of the work that we do within the shamanic practitioner is deep hypnosis, or something similar to that. It works the same way. If you were to rate put an EKG and an EEG on the person, it would look almost the same. Probably the same, because it's the same thing. We go equally deep. So it's important to do it in a safe way, with a safe person, with someone that's experienced in doing so, and with a clear intention. Always a clear intention when you work with any of the 9 realms, and when you go within or without. And with what I mean by that is inside or outside. It's so weird, the word without. It's so weird in this context. But anyway, I'm done now. So I hope this was somewhat clear. it's a bit hard to talk about some runes without just getting lost in the explanation, because there is so many things within them, especially these worlds and what they stand for and what they hold. And I feel like I've barely scratched the surface of this. My plan is to, when I get my Patreon going, I will have more. I will share more on my Patreon, and probably do some meditations and that sort of thing to get you together with you guys to really explore these worlds some more. So this is just kind of a small introduction to the 9 worlds, and my attempt to explain a little bit about what they stand for and what the benefits are. So I've talked about who lives here and what that means. I've talked about what have I? Okay, the element and the meaning of the world, and I've talked about the benefits of going there. Yeah, what do they represent? Yeah. So I've talked about all of those things. Who lives there? What do they represent? The element of the world, which is the Earth Mother, and the darker aspects of her, and the nutrients of the dark soil, and then the benefits of traveling here, so shamanic journeying and meditation. So yeah, ask me any questions in the comment section. I answer them as soon as I am able, and I will see you next time. Walk in beauty with your shadow self. Tjingeling!